G'day guys and welcome back to your English Aussie. Today we're going to take a run through the tactical observations from Game Week 34 and let you know all the best players to buy, sell and hold for Game Week 35. Let's jump straight into it. So looking at the first lot of games here, and Chelsea-Everton were the early kickoff. Moyes again continued to show that defensive solidity that have landed Everton in with the fourth least goals conceded this season in the Premier League after Liverpool, Arsenal and Nottingham Forest. They continue to show that strong backbone that they have to their team, even without Tarkowski at centre-back. They moved O'Brien over and continued to remain resolute. Chelsea moved back to what has worked best for them in the past, with Lavia being able to play in the team in central midfield. They had Lavia and Enzo in that sort of CDM roles, with Palmer in the CAM role. That meant that Moises Caicedo played at right back over Gusto, who was injured, with Cucurella at left back. So generally when that formation has happened for Chelsea, it means that in possession, Caicedo inverts into CDM, and that allows Enzo to push forwards into a secondary cam role alongside Palmer. That means Palmer can play in that sort of inside right role where he's able to cut inside and shoot with his left foot. I think that's where he's clearly at his most imposing for that Chelsea side. It does also mean that Enzo gets into some fantastic positions. Although the Chelsea fixtures are not fantastic over the next couple of weeks, if this is something that Maresca looks to continue with into next season, I think Enzo at a cheap price could be a really good pickup for next season for Chelsea. Unfortunately, this formation meant that Cucurella was unable to invert as we expected, with Gusto being out into those sort of high positions up the field. Until the second half, when Reece James came on, that meant that Reece James sort of slotted into a back three and allowed Cucurella to invert into that sort of cam role and into those higher positions later in the game. But he did tend to mix that up a little bit with Reece James. Chelsea, again, despite this being probably their most potent formation for scoring goals and being attacking, still struggled to break down that resolute Everton defence, but did manage to get out of it with a 1-0 win. Everton didn't cause them too many problems, although Sanchez did make a few fantastic saves for the chances that they did have. Bournemouth Man United, a 1-1 draw, and for any of you that went with Kepa in goal, it was a bone-crushing 95th minute equaliser for United that wiped the clean sheet and 3 bonus points. Man United rotation was not as expected. They did not rotate their team as much as we thought they might. And that does lead me to be thinking about Bruno Fernandes going forward and whether he could be an option for United with some favourable attacking fixtures over the last 4 weeks of the season. Man United still do have a very limited attacking threat, though. A lack of clinical finishing in their strikers, a lack of options now in their strikers with the injury to Xerxes. So that is a problem for them in terms of scoring mass amounts of goals. The refereeing decision is very poor in this game. The Evan Nilsson red card should definitely not have been a red card, in my opinion. He clearly slips over. There's no intent there in that challenge. And of course, a tough one to take for those of you that also went with Evan Nilsson. At least he managed to get the assist before being sent off. But that really did change the game and allowed Man United to build a few more attacking opportunities, which they struggled to do with Bournemouth, with having 11 men on the pitch. Moving on to our next games to talk through. Newcastle versus Ipswich 3-0. Again, a red card changing the game with two yellow cards for Ben Johnson. One for a dive, which I'm not convinced he should have been shown the yellow card for. It did look like there was contact to me. And then a second one with sort of a reckless challenge He really didn't need to hold Isak back there, and sort of deserved his second yellow card. A very foolish tackle when you know you're already on a yellow. Newcastle clearly had the game plan to expose Greaves filling in for Leif Davis, who was suspended in that left-back role. They played several cross-field diagonals over the top and tried to get in behind with Murphy and Trippier and Murphy doubling him up constantly on that wing, forming a triangle with Bruno Guimaraes, which we often see in that Arsenal team with Saka, Odegaard, and Timber or Ben White at the right-back role. The same sort of triangle Newcastle were forming around there, which was very productive for them. However, I think they did miss a trick of, as we saw in that Arsenal game, Arsenal caused a lot of problems with cutting the ball back into the box once they got down to that right-hand byline or left-hand byline. And I think Guimaraes and Murphy's deliveries were a little bit too across the face of the box. And that's where the Ipswich defence had dropped really deep and managed to stop a few of those attempts. However, obviously, both Trippier and Murphy down that right-hand side were the best options for Newcastle this week, and did get some points for you guys. I still am not completely bullish on Newcastle defence. I do think if Ipswich hadn't have got that red card, they perhaps would not have been able to keep the clean sheet in that fixture. But again, a great result for those of us on free hit this week. Wolves versus Leicester, and the big talking point here was the Jose Sarr penalty save, and maybe I should have listened to my coin flip in the deadline stream between Sarr and Kepa for that goalkeeper slot, and I'm glad I spoke to a lot of you guys to tell you to make sure to put Sarr in that team, because he was fantastic. A penalty save, a clean sheet, and bonus point was a real result there if you went for him. I think Wolves over the last sort of 6 games have really worked on having a much more compact shape. You've seen in six wins in a row now for Wolves in their last 6 games in the Premier League. Their pressing has got better. The movement defensively as a unit has got better, and their ability to step up and press as a team has really worked for them. Pereira's got the team working together much better over the last few weeks. Cunha's come back into the side. Didn't have any issues slotting back in last week, and again this week he just showed why he's so valuable to this Wolves side. He's able to be such a creative threat in that side, as he showed for the assist for Strand Larsen and a goal scorer. He really definitely showed why he was the best option for Wolves this week against Leicester, who are a side just devoid of any confidence at the moment, lacking real star players really, that you do need at least sort of 1 or 2 of if you want to be able to compete in the Premier League. And one of those guys that I think does have a little bit of twinkle, a little bit of magic is Mavididi, and that was a real huge loss to them with the injury for him in the middle of the week. They're ruling him out potentially for the rest of the season. Of course, they do still have Jamie Vardy. There was news that he's obviously moving on at the end of the season, but he is starting to get a little bit older. Maybe Father Time is finally catching up with him. Moving on to the final games that we just want to quickly talk through. Liverpool 5-1 against Spurs, that should say up there. And Trent's positioning. Trent again started the game for Liverpool, very unexpected for me. But he maintained that positioning that we've spoken about quite a lot this season. It's a much less crucial role for Liverpool. He plays a much more defensive fullback role. Slot wants the team to not be so susceptible to the counter-attacks as they were in that Jurgen Klopp era, where they were like a Rolls-Royce machine. They were sort of pressing at high speeds and really pushing forwards without any care of what happened on the other end. Very entertaining to watch, but obviously a little bit more defensively solid now. Specifically against the Tottenham team, I think it was clear who thrive in those sort of counter-attacking positions. That is what Slot wanted to avoid. Obviously, until the changes came that allowed Trent to play a little bit more offensively, a little bit more free in the second half. I thought McAllister had a fantastic game for Liverpool. He's someone that, if he can sort of bed down that role in the Liverpool side, could actually be an FPL asset in the next season. Definitely someone who creates a lot of chances on the end, fantastic shooting on free kicks, and definitely could be someone who you could look at as a Liverpool offensive asset if he can maintain that starting place. And finally, just congratulations to Liverpool, of course, champions, and Mo Salah still on the lookout to break Haaland's record, to break Henry's record for assists, and maybe now is the time going forwards that the ball will be being played more to him to break his records, and the team will look at that as something that they want to achieve for Salah as well, now that they have wrapped up the league. Finally, Southampton beat Fulham, and I think I said before the game here that I did think Southampton had improved as a team over the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks and do look a lot better. Fulham, again, showing that they just have a few defensive issues that they're working on at the moment, have been conceding quite a few chances, conceded this time from a straightforward set piece for them, and they did manage to get the win late on in the game with some heroics from Ryan Sessegnon, who I know many of you would have been very happy to see get on the score sheet in that game. Brighton West Ham 3-2 win for Brighton. Seemed a very chaotic game. I haven't had a chance to look through in too much detail, but I will discuss later in the week with the Brentford and Nottingham Forest game in a later video or on the live stream on Saturday. So I will talk through that once I've had a chance to look through in detail and give you guys some tactical thoughts. And now we'll just quickly move on to the sort of buy, sells and holds and who the best players are for this week and going forwards through to the rest of the season. Just a quick shout out for you guys. If you have been enjoying this video, please remember to leave a like down below, comment below with your thoughts. Any engagement really helps the channel. If you can subscribe to the channel, that would be brilliant. We do also have memberships active if you do want to support the channel further. And let's jump straight back into the action. The best defenders to buy for 35 and going forwards. We do have Ryan Aït-Nouri of Wolves at the top of the list. It is his attacking threat that makes him so valuable. He has managed to get an assist in the last week. He almost managed to get a goal for Wolves as well. And he does really marauder up that left wing. Wolves have been fantastic of late, having won 6 out of their last 6 games. And Aït-Nouri looks a threat to me. Milenkovic or Nico Williams up there because of Nottingham Forest's fantastic fixtures over the last 4. They have Palace, Leicester, West Ham and Chelsea. All teams that they could potentially keep a clean sheet against. And then Collins of Brentford, just due to his great fixtures and his set-piece threat, could be someone nice to look at as a differential option. And Josko Gvardiol as well of Manchester City for their fantastic fixtures. Only problem with Gvardiol is as Nico O'Reilly has bedded down that left-back role, he is now playing at that centre-back position, and therefore his attacking threat has been minimised a little bit. Into the sells is Ibrahima Konate of Liverpool. I think Liverpool have some tricky fixtures coming up. I'm not sure how many of those they'll want Konate to play, given he's been managing injury throughout this season, and Liverpool have already won the league. In the hold section, I do have Trent. For me, he probably is someone that if you need the money, I would be selling. I think given the positional play of Liverpool's fullbacks this season, he hasn't been pushing on as much as he liked. Alongside that with the fixtures, and for me, he's not worth the 7.2 million. I would hold him if value's not an issue and you want to make your transfers in the attacking areas. Outside of that, we do have Munoz, Robinson, Mikalenko and Kirkes. I think if you do have any of these options, saving your transfers for the sort of attacking areas is a more valuable use of transfers at this time. If you have multiple transfers, I think any of these guys could move out for the players on the left in buy. Onto the midfielders now, and we do have right at the start Bryan Mbeumo as our first midfielder in here. And just a quick reminder to you guys, if you have been enjoying this video, please remember to give it a like, subscribe to the channel down below, and we do now have memberships active if you do want to support the channel even further as well. Continuing on with this midfielder list, and we do have Elanga in here for Nottingham Forest. We will see if he does manage to start this week against Brentford. If he does, he looks like a fantastic option moving forwards with Forest's great fixtures over the last 4 games. Alongside him, Kevin De Bruyne of Manchester City. Expect De Bruyne to start every game for the rest of the season for Manchester City. It is his last season. He wants to finish on a bang. Manchester City want to finish in that top 5 and qualify for the Champions League, and he is still a key figure for them at the moment. Morgan Rogers next on the list, almost guaranteed for 90 minutes every game. Villa's fixtures are reasonably nice with Fulham, Bournemouth, Tottenham and Manchester United over those last 4, especially if Tottenham and United continue to progress in the Europa League. That could be really useful to have for Morgan Rogers. Jared Bowen of West Ham, similar story here. They do have Tottenham and Man United over the next 2 fixtures. It could be a fantastic time to play both these teams with them prioritising the Europa League, and then followed up by Forest and Ipswich in the final game of the season. Jared Bowen might be a fantastic differential pick. Finally on here, we do have Morgan Gibbs-White for the good Nottingham Forest fixtures and Mo Salah, just because he's Mo Salah and we can't do a video without him. He has slid down to the bottom of the buy list. The reason for him on here is that I do think now Liverpool have won the league, they might look to focus on getting Salah to his records for goals and assists this season, potentially beating Haaland and potentially beating Thierry Henry's assist record. Into the tier 2 buy section, we do have Justin Kluivert, Bruno Fernandes, Son Heung-min and Mitoma. Before rounding out the sell with Cole Palmer. If you do have him, he's just killing us, isn't he? So he would be a sell for me. Luckily, I got rid of him a couple of weeks ago from my team. The tier 2 buys are maybe just some options of the potential differentials going forwards. Kluivert on penalties, Fernandes on penalties, Son with some nice fixtures for Spurs, and Mitoma in good form for Brighton. Could be some nice picks. And finally, on to the forward line, and we do have Chris Wood and Johan Wissa as our 2 standout options this game week. Again, Brentford and Nottingham Forest, just fantastic fixtures. Forest with Palace, Leicester, West Ham, Chelsea, and Brentford with Man United, Ipswich, Fulham and Wolves over the last 4. Could be some really nice games for them. And we do have this man, Matheus Cunha, in there. He's just someone, when he finds form, is just so electric as a striker. He's involved creatively for Wolves, as well as a goal scorer and on penalties. He's just such a key figure in this Wolves side. Expect him to continue for the rest of the season, building his value before a potential sale at the end of the season to another club. In the tier 2 buy, we do have Ollie Watkins. He has been in some good form for Aston Villa of late. I know his minutes are a bit of a risk though. Outside of that, Jørgen Strand Larsen still playing well for Wolves in that number 9. Wolves have been in great form. And if Cunha does fall out of favour and come out of that team due to a sale, Strand Larsen would be the number 1 option for Wolves. And finally, Danny Welbeck with João Pedro out at the moment. Danny Welbeck will be on penalties for Brighton. With not terrible fixtures over the next 4 weeks with Newcastle, Wolves, Liverpool and Tottenham. In the hold section, we do have Omar Marmoush and Jean-Philippe Mateta and Alexander Isak. If you have any of these guys, they have reasonable fixtures over the next 4 game weeks. It would be difficult for me to suggest to sell any of them. However, if it is for a Wood or a Wissa or a Cunha, I could see good reason to go without one of those 3 over the next 4 weeks. In the sell section, we've got Nicholas Jackson, Cody Gakpo, João Pedro and Raul Jimenez. If you have any of these guys, I do recommend getting rid of them for your team. And finally, if you have enjoyed this video and you watched all the way through, thank you so much. If you could give us a like, subscribe down below to the channel, it really helps our small channel at the moment. Any of that, give us a comment down below, helps with the interaction. I can really appreciate it. It really helps this channel to grow and give me the energy and boost to keep going for the rest of this season. Thank you so much for watching. This has been your English Aussie, and have a great week, everybody. Cheers, guys.